Hey everyone, Garbage here. In first-person shooters, there are a lot of different ways to simulate weapon recoil. But today I want to focus on the kind of recoil system found in games like CSGO and Valorant, spray patterns, because while they are fairly simple to implement, it's also one of the more complex recoil systems out there. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, games like CSGO have a very unique way of simulating recoil where firing your weapon will cause your shots to deviate from the center of the crosshair to simulate the effect of weapon recoil on your aim. The resulting spray pattern is predetermined, it's repeatable, and it's unique to each weapon and therefore can be learned and compensated for with training. But how does it work? The first concept to understand is the idea of a weapon's heat value. I'm not talking about temperature. Heat is just a programmer term that I've seen used when researching this topic, and it seems to fit. But every time my weapon fires off a round, the number you see on the right increases by 1. And this is the weapon's heat value, which in my case goes up to a maximum of 13. And once I stop firing, the heat value begins to decay back to 0. And I guess you can think of the heat value as a measure of how long the player has been shooting without stopping. One of the most straightforward ways to implement a spray pattern is to create an array, basically a list, in this case containing a list of coordinates that define how much a bullet should deviate horizontally and vertically from the center of the crosshair. Each coordinate in the array corresponds to a specific heat value. For example, at heat value 0, the bullet will experience 0 horizontal and vertical deviation. This would be your first shot accuracy. Then at heat value 1, we can see the bullet will deviate by 0.2 units horizontally and 0.3 units vertically. And with each additional increase in heat value, you can make the bullet deviate even further until you reach the maximum. And with this, you get that very distinct CSGO playstyle, where spraying and praying will quickly max out your heat value, causing your shots to become very inaccurate, whereas shooting in small bursts, letting the heat value decay in between, gives you much more accurate shots. Now, at the moment, our spray pattern has no variation, and the bullets land in the exact same spots every single time. But in CSGO, there is some small amount of randomness in where the bullets land, even though the overall spray pattern remains mostly the same. And this is fairly easy to implement. All you need is a random number generator to slightly fudge the numbers on your list of coordinates every time you shoot, so that each shot lands in a slightly different spot than before. And you can even add multipliers that change the intensity of the randomness depending on whether you're moving or crouching or standing still to add even more variation, similar to how it works in CSGO and Valorant. Now, one downside to all this is that it can be a bit tedious to work with. For example, if you have a gun with a 150 round magazine and you want to create a fixed spray pattern for it, you have to manually create a list of 150 coordinates for your spray pattern. And if you want to make any adjustments or change the number of bullets in the magazine, you have to redo large portions of the list. Some game engines allow you to use Bezier curves to make programming spray patterns easier, but in the end, there's still a lot of manual work involved. One way that Valorant gets around this is by having a fixed spray pattern up to a certain point, and then have it be random beyond that. And so the computer is doing a lot of the heavy lifting in determining how the spray pattern works out. And it gives the developer a bit more flexibility in case they want to extend the magazine or make any other changes. But as far as I know, CSGO doesn't do that, which really makes me wonder how they dealt with the Negev, which has a 150 round magazine and a fixed spray pattern. If you happen to know the answer, feel free to let me know in the comments. Anyways, hope you learned something today. Spray patterns are cool, but probably not something that I'd use too much in the game I'm making. But there are a number of other ways to simulate recoil in first-person shooters. And if you'd like me to talk about those or any other game mechanics in future videos, let me know in the comments down below. Also, come check out my second channel and Twitch channel where I stream all sorts of games most days of the week. Links to everything as well as my Twitter and Discord down below. Like, subscribe, bell, and as always, have a nice day.